generally speaking, everything you do is for you. Why? Why are we working? Why do you care about the politics? Why do you care about multiplanetary species? Consciousness, you mentioned that, but like,
yeah.
do you ever get like, feel like that's maybe not the case or not true?
Well, I mean, there's certainly at times when I balance my things like.
I mean, I think it's a good question you ask because it goes to like at a foundational level, what is my philosophy and why does it lead to this conclusion? So the reason is that when I was a teenager, I had like an existential crisis to try to figure out what's the meaning of life. It doesn't seem to be any meaning. For me, at least, the religious texts, and I read all of them that I could get my hands on, did not. Then I started reading the philosophers. As a teenager, I had like an existential crisis to try to figure out what's the meaning of life. It doesn't seem to be any meaning. For me, at least, the religious texts, and I read all of them that I could get my hands on, did not seem convincing.
I just want to make sure that I'm live before I say something. It's not telling me I'm live. Oh, because I'm on the wrong channel. Brilliant. Because I'm on. All right. Let's get a refresh of that.
Life it doesn't seem to be any meaning. For me, at least, the religious texts, and I read all of them that I could get my hands on, did not seem convincing. Then I started reading the philosophers. As a teenager, I had like an existential crisis to try to figure out what's the meaning of life. That when I was a teenager, I had like an existential crisis to try to figure out what's the meaning of life.
The meaning of life, if you look outside, animals and plants, everything else, life is more life. It's what it's all about, your offspring.
It doesn't seem to be any meaning. For me, at least, the religious texts, and I read all of them that I could get my hands on, did not seem convincing.
I've read quite a few, not all of them. I'm terrible at reading. I have to take my time and look up the word, and then I have to go to, I just said his name too, Pastor Murray, get it retranslated into the original text. It's a lot of work. It really is. But if you think it like this, think of it all gone. No religion. All the books gone. Completely all disintegrated. What do you do now? Well, if you look around, you'd have to say, you come from the sun, right? Sun shines down, brings life to the ground. Mother and father eat from the ground. Make love, have something to love, baby. You came from the sun.
Then I started reading the philosophers. Be careful of like reading German philosophers as a teenager. It's definitely not going to help with your depression. So reading Schopenhauer and Nietzsche, like, as an adult, it's much more manageable. But as a kid, you're like, whoa. So then I was like, man, I'm just like struggling to find meaning in life here. And then I read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and basically what Douglas Adams was saying is that we don't really know what the right questions are to ask. Like the question is not what's the meaning of life. In the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Earth, it turns out, is a big computer and its goal is to answer the question, what's the meaning of life? And Earth comes up with the answer 42. This is where the 42 number comes from. And 420 is just 10 times 42.
Or maybe it was a joke. Maybe I said 42 and you said, oh, 42. Oh, 42. Look around. H2O. Meaning of life.
Yeah. In that book, which is really sort of a book about, it's an existential philosophy book that disguised as humor, they come to the conclusion that no, the real problem is trying to formulate the question. And to really have the right question, you need a much bigger computer than Earth. And so maybe like one way, I think, way of characterizing this would be to say the the universe is the answer. What is the question? What are the questions? The more we can expand the scope and scale of consciousness, the better we can understand what questions to ask about the answer that is the universe. The more we can expand consciousness, become a multi-planet species, ultimately a multicellular species, we have a chance of figuring out what the hell's going on. And so, and this is why I think we should have more humans and more digital, both biological and digital consciousness, and why we should become a multi-planet species and a multicellular species, is so that we can understand the nature of the universe. And then, in order for that to occur, then we have to make sure that things are good on Earth. In order for Earth to sphere. So sustainable energy is important.
You're going to blast 24 rockets per day. That's your projection, with tons and tons of pollution. And that's what you said. Let's say you know everything of the universe, every single bit, and you have no planet. Now what? Was it worth it? So you're thinking that if you build something that uses microwaves, it's going to help you understand something, even though it's going to hit children. They take in 10 times more microwave radiation than an adult. And you can go see this over at Environmental Health Trust over at Gandhi's work. That was done on software that was engineered for showing the penetration of microwave radiation. So the more that occurs, and the fact that it's outdated and the FCC lost in court, Environmental Health Trust won, and it was ruled arbitrary and capricious. And when you look at the 1980 rat and monkey test where we got our thermal guidelines, it is 40 plus years old. So adding more and more and bringing it closer and closer, every 165 feet, putting it in your car, you don't show the EMF levels, babies' brains barely developed, and all testable. You can test this with an actual meter, Safe and Sound Pro meter, a Wavemon RF60. It's used for cell phone tower workers and radiologists. Dr. Robert Brown just wrote a book, Unplugged. So you have all this to understand the universe, but you're going to blast radiation on children, K through 12, and in that, once they hit 15, they go to work, and that's only a 10x minus, because they took that 4 kilograms, they divided it by 50 for general public, and only divided it by 10% for workers, so they can get exposed more there. And then this occurs even more and more as it goes on. Bring people to college, and you've got, another laptop hovering over your reproductive organs, over and over and over again. All testable too. You get that Wavemon RF60 and you clip it on, and it'll do 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 30 days. So you take that, it's $2,000, take that, take another $2,000, go over to a building biologist institution, have them re-evaluate it, so you have documentation, you have a ticket for it, so they can re-evaluate it, so you can correlate it with the bioinitiative report, the harmful effects of non-ionizing radiation. There are over 260 scientists from 43 nations that signed the International Call to Protection from Non-Ionizing Radiation. Environmental Health Trust, you can request for an expert to speak with.